Hey guys, if you pay close attention for the next 82 seconds, I'm going to deliver some information that is more valuable than probably anything you've seen for the last month, probably for the last 12 months. So guys, my name is Jason Cardamone, and most of you know me. I've been around the online scene for a lot of years, but I realize some of you are getting this email, this video, and you may not have heard from me for months or even years now. And the reality is, I've been building an email list online for 10 years, since 2006. And what's happened was, where I had that, I've just recently come to realize the majority of all the emails I've sent out over the years have not been delivered to most of you. So if you're seeing this and you don't remember opting into one of my lists and you're not quite sure what's going on, we're starting on a fresh slate. Congratulations, welcome into the Jason Cardamone Inner Circle. For the rest of you that know me, guys, here's what we're doing. I'm gonna drop massive value on you right now in a very short, succinct amount of time over the coming 90 days. I'm gonna be shooting a video every day for the next 90 days, and every single one of these is gonna offer massive value to you. You're gonna be leveraging the more than $250,000 I've invested into my personal development in internet marketing, leadership, communication, everything around that type of psychology and online business, entrepreneurship. So here's what I'm gonna talk about today, guys. 90-day runs, 12-week focuses, which 90 days is closer to about 13 weeks, and that breaks down to about 12 weeks. And I want to explain to you how you can get more done in the next 90 days than you've done literally in any other previous year in your life. So we're talking about compressing time down to 400% more impactful. So doing 3 months what used to take you 12 months. And guys, I'm a living example of this. Back in the fall of 2014, I made more money in that 90 days, in a 90-day run I did, and I didn't know exactly what I'm about to teach you. I didn't have all these distinctions hammered out at that point, but what was beautiful, the results, I made more money in 90 days. I spent more family quality time. We went finally for the first time ever. I took my kids to Disneyland. We went to several places, and I flew out of the country to Dubai. It was amazing, but I did more in that 90 days than I'd done literally in any year in my entire life. And here's how I did it. I'm gonna tell you exactly right now. You can model this exact same thing, and you're gonna be watching me do this as these videos continue to pump value into your life. So, the reason why 90 days works so much better than 365 days like typical, guys, even my old goal setting workshop that was focused all around year intervals. And the reason why this works better is focus, and you reduce the amount of mistakes. And here's a great example. If you're trying to set a target out a year from today, but then you realize in a month from now, holy crap, I forgot I need to go back to school and get my master's degree or something like that. That's not something that's going to happen in those months. It could. You can get a master's degree within that amount of time, depending on where you're starting. But that's an example of you don't have time to course correct that quickly because you set a goal to so far out, your mind can't very well comprehend what you can achieve in a year from now. But what it's much, much better at is specificity, which means look at this little period of 90 days, not this giant 365-day thing. So 90-day runs, 12, 13 weeks. We're going to talk a lot about that. That focus is how it allows you to reduce mistakes. Time blocking. So we're going to go over just these 4 things here, and the 4th one has 2 subparts. So number 2 is time blocking. One of the most important things, if you don't create your schedule in your life, the world's going to create it for you. Whether it's your spouse, your job, the rest of whatever it is, something's going to fill the void. It's kind of like you have a big bucket and there's water, and as soon as you start to allow the water to come in, it's going to fill that space. But if you put your big giant blocks of what's important to you, the big rocks inside the bucket first, the water still comes in, but it has to fill the spaces around those big blocks that you've already blocked out. So what I mean is, if something, when you're setting your goals here, we're going to talk, I didn't really say like, hey, what do you really do here? Is set your targets, your outcomes, and that's part of number 4. So as you're thinking, I'm going to do what's called a pre-frame here for you. And I want you thinking of 3 specific areas of your life. Your health and nutrition is one, your finances, your career, your mission, and then your relationships like your family, your marriage, your spouses, your neighborhood, your contribution. I want you to think of one of those 3 areas, or specifically all 3 of them, and as you're thinking of something you want to improve in those areas, those are what I want you to start to put this frame of 90 days around, of like, how much healthier could you be in 90 days? How much more energy could you have? What would it feel like to wake up completely excited for your life? And how is that different from what it looked like this morning when you woke up? Those are examples. And guys, this video is going to be like fire hose. It's going to be super short. I'm not going into details like I typically do. I'm not going to go into in-depth teaching on this stuff. Like, I'm not going to offer to you guys what I offer my 4 and 5 figure coaching clients. So just because of the sake of time, so I want to pump this value into you guys. I'm not saying I'm not going to do that over time with you. My mission is provide value to people because I know the world's hurting. As we lock arms together, we all make the world a better place as we pull out more of our God-given gifts inside. That's why I'm here and that's why I'm doing this. So, guys, time blocking, we have to block out those commitments. So if I want to have more energy in 90 days from now than I have today, one of those things is I'm not going to get it by eating Twinkies and eating chips and drinking 6 packs of beer and crap like that and not doing any workouts. You have to take responsibility and do some changes, and I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag of number 3 there. And so you have to create, let's say your block is, I am going to wake up at 5:30 every morning, and from 5:31 to 6:29, I am going to go and do anything. And if an hour's too overwhelming right now, great. Do 5 minutes. Go walk around your block. Great story about an older person in there, basically an elderly woman, super crippled and all messed up, and they had a dream to run a marathon and they couldn't even walk down the driveway, literally couldn't walk down the driveway. So what they did was set the tiniest goal of walk a few feet. And then the next day they went a few steps further. And by the end, within a couple weeks or so, they're getting to the bottom of the driveway. Within a month or 2, they're getting down to the bottom of the street and back. And next thing you know, it was like a year and a half or so, they literally ran a marathon. And this was someone with a fraction of the physical muscle and the mental capabilities that you have inside of you right now. And they came from a just disastrous, their body was all wrecked. So unless that fits your description, you have no excuses to go out and make something happen. And it starts, if an hour's too much right now, great. How else are we going to get there? And we're going to break that down in a second. So start with a couple minutes. Start with a walk around the block. You don't have to go jog. You don't have to go crazy like I do and run marathons and set personal records and do karate and belt advance and Muay Thai kickboxing and all the crazy stuff that I do. You don't have to do that stuff yet. That comes later because I sucked at soccer and then I became semi-professional after a college scholarship, and those things should have never happened in my life. But it's because consistent work over time. So number 3, block out your time. Number 3 then, you have to take ownership and commitment. And ownership is just another word for accountability. One of the best ways you can do this is keep a log, a physical log, just like you guys see all the stuff on the board here, which you're not going to see any of that. This is all my personal planning stuff, and I needed the whiteboard typically for teaching people, so I had to cover my private stuff. I've set some specific dates here on the 7th and the 14th of this month, and those are some of the targets which I'm specifically planning around. And I felt like my microphone's so light, I thought it just flew off for a second there. So you have to take accountability, and one of the best ways to do that, besides hiring a coach or doing group coaching, and that's an even better way to amplify that to the next level. But my intention here is to deliver stuff to you that you can take action on right now for little or next to zero, little cost to zero cost. That's my intention for you. And so I'm going at this who I was right after I filed bankruptcy in 2005. What could I have used in my life? That's the way I'm teaching you. And if you're somewhere better than that and you didn't just file bankruptcy and you have a few bucks in the bank and you have 401ks and whatever you might have, you have a job, you have income, you're blessed. Good. Be grateful for that stuff. So you have to take ownership and accountability, and you have to commit to these things, guys. So if you, and the commitment's going to fall through on the next step as well, but if, let's say our goal, our target is to have more energy in 90 days from now, more energy than we have today. Notice that's not very specific. So we're going to get into some of that specificity right now, but you have to be committed to that result, or else you're not going to set the alarm for 5:30 every morning. And when it goes off, you're going to push snooze 100 times, and then after a week of that, you're going to get tired of it. You're just going to reset the alarm back to wherever you normally wake up. So, commitment. Now, step number 4 here, this is the last part. It's the targets. It's what we're going for. It's the energy. It's the more ideal relationship with our children, with our spouse. It is the more perfect, finance. It's the amount of money. Guys, I'll publicly share this with you right now. I am creating right now, it's day number 1. In the next 90 days, I am creating a brand new $100,000 in personal income over these 90 days. And you can watch me do this. I literally will do this. I've already done more than this like a year and a half ago. So I already have the belief. I have way better tools. I have way better mentors. I have way more resources than I ever needed, or than I ever had back when I've already done this. So you're going to see where part of this is stretching for your targets. Now that 100,000, I'm not doing it in the 130 hours a week I did previously, because I have other commitments, other income streams. I have a family. We have a very busy summer and a lot of really cool life things to go. Plus, I'm going to be doing my first public fight, and I'm also going to be running my tail off with some different races. So, and spending tons of quality family time and keeping all my other income streams flying too. So that 100,000 is a stretch for me, because I'm going to do it with less of the most important resource, which is time. So you need to stretch yourself, and you have to, why is this important to you? To get that more energy, to get that income, to improve that relationship. Why is that important to you? You have to, guys, I don't care what I do care what your reasons are, but there's zero judgment. What matters, you shouldn't care what I think about what your why is and what your reasons for those targets are. It's all about what's in your heart. What are you hearing as my words are leaving my mouth and entering your eardrums and causing the vibrations and all the neural psychology that starts happening, and the chemicals start to flood out, and you may even see that the lights just got a little bit brighter, and you're seeing these things differently, and you're just noticing there's a red eagle on my shirt. As these things are all happening, that's where these pieces all fall together in the process. So why is it important to you? It doesn't matter what's happening in my chemicals and all this other stuff. What happens, the only reason I'm important is what reactions can I cause in your life through this digital technology. You're probably looking at me on a phone or like a screen or a computer or something right now. Or maybe you're looking at me in real life and this is all just a giant crazy game we're all playing. So guys, stretch when you're setting your targets. And you have to create for each one of them, why is this one important to me? I highly challenge you to do one in all 3 areas. Again, health and nutrition, your finances, your career, your mission, and your relationships, your community, your charity work, things like that. Tithing. So one big target in each of those 3 areas that you want to achieve in the 90 days from now. Now, tactics. How are you going to do this? And tactics are, okay, I want to have more energy. I want to be able to run a half marathon, because I haven't ran that distance for a couple years now. So to run a half marathon in 90 days from now, where am I going to need to be in a week from now? What am I going to have to change in this week immediately? And where do I want to be at 30, 60 days leading up to my big target of running a half marathon in 90 days from now? Let's say that's one of my goals. So what I would do is break that down and make sure I am putting in at least 10 to 15 miles per week running, starting right this very first week. Starting this week, I have to be doing 10 to 15 miles per week at least. And for a half marathon, I need to build up to probably about 25 plus miles a week. It kind of depends. And I also, in my world, I always hire coaches for anything that's important to me. I would rehire my coach immediately, which I'm just about to do again. 4-time Olympian. She's amazing. She's helped me set all kinds of records. Actually, I told you guys this would be super fast. She's the reason I got this awesome little plaque right here, which first place for my age group in a 5-mile run back in May of 2014. So, but to get that, we had to have targets weekly that built into 30-day targets and 60 days. So those are like your big milestones. Notice if you just have a goal a year out, your milestones now are only 90 days away instead of like 30 and 60 days. So you can't course correct as fast, because the more specific you measure something, the faster you can course correct, like a plane on the way to a destination, where if a plane's just going to say, I'm going from Texas all the way to Florida, and let's just go and we'll figure it out when we're close there. It may start off going towards California, and then it decides to take a measurement 3 hours into the flight, and it's like, oh crap, we're like over the ocean on the opposite side of the world. We went the wrong direction. We better course correct now. So you need to take the smaller you compress the measurement space into, the more on target you're going to be to your goals, the more you're measuring stuff. That's why I say every day write everything down. How much water did I drink today? What workout did I do today? And give yourself a point system on these things. What did I do with my spouse and my loved ones and my children today? What did I do in my income producing activities in my business today? How many lives did I positively impact and help out today? Here's one. Did I do my daily video and send this to my list? So, tactics with a due date. Then, here's the last step. Around your targets, what are your potential struggles? What's going to stop you? What could possibly happen when I'm going to try to run this half marathon in 90 days? And guys, that's not one of my targets. It might become one, but that's not one. And we're just using it as an example. But potential struggles. My Achilles tendonitis could flare up. My back issues, I've been going to chiropractor for 6 weeks. Those are feeling amazing. Who knows what could happen to those? Maybe when I'm in my fight here in a month or 6 weeks or whatever it is, maybe in that fight I get injured. Those are all potential struggles. And then how am I going to overcome those to hit my target anyway? So I have to have a plan put in place. And what we're doing is setting expectations for ourselves and our journey, because there is no such thing as like magic, we're just going to fly right there. You're going to have stuff happen. I remember back when I was the income stuff in the fall of 2014, I had to deal with the biggest leadership issues at that point in my life. And it was like stuff that kept me up for a night or two straight, and I was crying and I couldn't believe these people said this and did these certain actions, and it just blew my mind. Some people I'd known for years, like starting to see true colors. I'm like, how is this even possible? But then today, now that I have those tools on board, to realize like, dude, it's nothing now, because I've had that stuff happen since then, and it like takes this amount of energy compared to days straight of all my energy. That's because I now know how to plan for that potential struggle, and I know that's part of the process. So guys, to summarize real quick, because I'm letting you go and I want you to take action on this, and I'm going to tell you what that action is in about 25 seconds. Why we're doing 90 days? Because it helps you focus and reduce mistakes. Number 2, time block it. Those big bricks in the big jar. Put them in there, put the big rocks in, everything else will fill in. Your space will get taken. You don't set your own 90-day targets. Me or the world or your boss or your spouse or all your neighbors and everybody else around you, they're going to set your targets for you. So you better put your rocks in that jar, because you have the best judge of those. You have a better judgment than me or your spouse or anybody else on the entire planet. You're the best one to know what needs to go in there. So you need to be fully committed to those goals. You need to take ownership, which means every single day document. And that's a hint of what the action I'm going to ask you to take. Last one, set your targets. They need to be a stretch. Why are they important to you? And set a due date with some So main target, have more energy at the end of 90 days. One of my tactics, I'm going to run a half marathon. That's going to give me more energy because I have to run a lot, and it gets all my health up higher and higher and higher. So I'm going to have more energy, and I'm going to eat more clean. What are my tactics to get there? Eating clean, running more, working out. Literally either doing martial arts or running 7 days a week. Every single day I'm doing one or the other. Okay, that's my tactics. Now, due date by each one. So what I start doing is forming my weekly schedule. I do this on Sunday nights, form out the whole week schedule. What's going to happen at what times throughout the week, because I put my rocks into place so nobody else can take over those spots. Then, what potential struggles could I hit? I have all kinds of physical injuries that have been from years, decades of 30 years of playing soccer at a very high level, from now almost a year of extremely intense martial arts, 8 years of running my booty off, thousands, I put in thousands, logged thousands and thousands of miles. And guys, by the way, you can use technology to help you track all this stuff too. There's a, if you have questions on that, respond to this and reply to this email, let me know. Or post to this if I put this on Facebook. So here's the action I want you to take right now. I want you to take this stuff and I want you to reply to this email and respond back to me. And if you're on Facebook, go do it below. I want you to tell me, what are you doing? What's it gonna look like? Why are you doing it? What are your potential struggles? All this stuff. And I completely respect if you just don't want to throw it all out there. Like, I'm a guy, I just like dive in the deep end. I like completely transparent. Hard on the sleeve, I think they call it. I don't know what you call it, but I won't hide anything ever. I don't care about that. So if you have some of this or specific targets, let's say you're struggling with like a drug or alcohol addiction, you don't want to talk with me or expose that, then keep it vague. And you can keep it vague in whatever way you want, or just leave it off the list and you do it on your own, but tell me what your other stuff is. You don't go into the level of detail you are comfortable with. That's what I want to get across to you. So guys, I'm really excited to be back with you. Thank you, especially for those of you that are listening right now that haven't seen an email from me for many, many, many years. You can blame my former autoresponder service, which is about to be shut off here in the next this 7 days, probably within about 4 or 5 days. That's my target I'm sharing with you. You are all getting this communication right now from my brand new email platform, and that's why a lot of you haven't heard from me and all of a sudden you're hearing from me. By the way, guys, if you let's say you hated what I did, which by the way, if you did, you're already gone from the video, but you don't want to ever hear from me again, all that stuff, hey, no hard feelings, totally awesome. Go down, click the unsubscribe button, and you won't ever hear from me again. So just click unsubscribe, get yourself off the list. Totally cool, dude. No harm, no foul. I want you to live an amazing life, and if I'm one of those people like coming into your life and wrecking everything and your life's rocking and it's smooth and you're like setting all your targets and goals and killing them and destroying them and everything's on an upward, like, dude, keep doing what you're doing. You don't need me then, okay? But I also know for the majority of people that's not the case, and I can help you. I'm here to serve. So until tomorrow, my friend, to your ultimate success, and God bless, guys.